What is this dashboard pages, Venkat? May I know the example of it?
Okay, okay. My name is not Venkat, okay, by the way.
Sorry.
Yeah, fine. So dashboard pages means, see, let's say for example, so there will be some pages which will be visited by the management. Let's say for example, any application, let's say Amazon or Flipkart, there may be having, admin login, means where we can see like how many products are being sold and how much revenue is made, right? There will be certain dashboards for that in that application. So those are called as dashboard pages, which will be visited by the management or the stakeholders. So I think stakeholders
Yes,
is
got it.
Let me introduce that. Oh, sorry.
Got it.
Yeah. So let me introduce the term stakeholders. Stakeholders means those who are part of that company.
Nothing but owners of the company, right?
Right. Owners and investors as well. So there will be certain investors also who will be investing in the business, right? Those are also called as stakeholders. Okay.
Thank you.
Remember this term, guys. Okay. So there is one question called in the recent, in one of the recent interviews. Let me pass recording of that company. Understood, guys? What is meant by stakeholders?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now let's move on to the next. Any queries before we move to the next slide?
Sir, I have one query.
Yes.
Sir, you said that we will develop a script for each business flows.
Right.
So are we checking any functionality there, or just will send the target user load to that? Sir?
No, we are not bothered. Of course, no, application should be functionally stable. Of course, if you want to do performance testing, application should be functionally stable. First of all, functional testing, there should not be any functional issues.
Okay.
Right? But as a performance testing engineer, right? So we are not bothered about functional testing. Anyways, there is a separate functional testing team for that.
Okay.
Right. So we will be generating load and checking like how is the application behavior on user load when it is subjected to some user load, how the application is responding.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
That is what we do as part of performance testing.
Yes.
Sir, any other queries, guys? Anyone?
Sir.
Yes, please.
If functional parameter is not fit, then performance will not going to get the good result.
Obviously.
No relation.
Obviously, so you mean to say like
performance test engineer, I am not getting a good result because of a functional requirement. So what is then my?
No, wait. So an application should be functionally stable, first of all. That is one of the prerequisites for doing performance testing. If we want to start performance testing, right? So the application should be functionally stable. There should not be any major functional issues. Okay. If it is a minor functional issue, we can ignore that particular business flow. Right?
Okay.
But one of the prerequisites for doing performance testing is a stable build with no major functional defects.
Okay, got it, sir.
Obviously, when the application is functional testing, we do with one user or two users, right? So when we when an application is not working correctly, not meeting the functional requirements, obviously we can't do performance testing. That doesn't make any sense to do performance testing, isn't it? So performance testing is something which we do with more load on the application, right? If the application is not working for one or two users itself, right? So it definitely, we cannot, doing performance testing doesn't make any sense, isn't it? So now what will you do, for example? So let's say, for example, there are some functional issues in profile update when you're trying to update your mobile or when you're trying to update your email ID. That particular functionality is not working, right? Then what should we do with performance testing? You are supposed to execute a performance test, but in the last minute you found out that that profile update feature is not working correctly. Then what do you do? Any guess?
No, sir.
Okay. So first we have to determine how important this is, right? How important this is. If it is very important transaction, right, of the application, so we cannot go ahead with the performance testing. But if it is a minor thing, I mean, if it is not not an important feature of the application, right? Or there will be less number of profile update. When do how many times have you done profile update in your net banking application or any other application?
Less times, less times.
Very few, very few.
Very
Right?
few.
We will do very few times, right? So hardly like once in a year or twice in a year, once or twice in a year, or thrice
Yes,
in a
sir.
year, isn't it? So we'll skip that particular script. We can skip that particular script. We can ignore that particular script, and we'll go ahead with the major business flows or important business flows. So that's what I
Okay.
mentioned here. That's what I have highlighted here. Important business flows of the application should be simulated. We need to test with important business flows of the application. Right?
Yes, got it.
We also call that as critical business flows of the application. Okay. Critical means nothing but important business flows of the application. Okay. I
Yes,
answer
sir.
your query. Shall we move to the next slide?
Yeah, okay.
Now let's understand what is performance testing. What are the okay. So this is the definition for performance testing, like in a one-liner. So from performance testing is non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, right? Speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. It is a non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. So when you say an application, it can be a web application, or it can be a mobile application, mobile app, right? You know what is the difference between application and an app, right? I believe most of you know that. Okay. Application versus app. What is the difference between an application and an app? So application is the general term used for web applications, websites, whereas app is a general term used for mobile apps. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So app is an app or apps is a term which is used for mobile apps. Okay. Apps is also, full form is also application here, but generally for mobile applications, we use this term called apps. Whereas for websites, we use this term called application. We use this term application, right? So it can be so you may be testing a web application or a mobile application or a desktop application as well, right? So application can be anything. And non-functional testing is to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. When I say speed, what is meant by speed of the application, guys?
Response
Response time.
Right. We check for the response time of the application. And the stability, what is meant by stability? How stable the application is, right?
Yes,
How stable the application
increasing.
is.
Yeah.
And the scalability means how scalable the application is. Scalable means, like let's say, for example, any application supports 1 lakh users. Let's say some application, there is some website which support 1 lakh users. Now, what is scalability? Let's say, for example, in the next 1 or 2 years, the target user load will be 1,20,000, right? Now we have to test whether our application can scale up to 1,20,000, can support that increasing user load or not. That is testing that is called as scalability testing, right? And reliability testing means once the application goes into production, how reliable the application will be, okay, without any outages and all. That is reliability. So performance testing is a non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability if you want to define a performance testing. Okay. Is it clear, guys? Is the definition clear?
Yes.
Yes. And now, so I explained these in detail. What are the 4 major factors for doing performance testing? So when I say speed, this is nothing but to check if the application responds quick enough for the intended users, and response time should be less. Response time should be less means response time should be within the SLAs. Okay. Let me elaborate it. Response time should be within the SLAs. Now let's understand what is meant by SLAs. First of all, SLA stands for service level agreement. SLA stands for service level agreement. Okay. So let me write it over here. I'll open a Word document for your batch, and I'll be noting all those, in that Word document, and I'll be sharing with you. So for now, I will be continuing this Notepad. Okay. Notepad++. So SLA stands for service level agreement. What is meant by this is a service level agreement. So when the development team is developing any application, right, they will be given some SLAs. right? The management or the stakeholders will give some SLAs to the development team. What are those SLAs? Let's say I'm giving some example numbers, guys. My home page of the application should be loaded in 2 seconds, right? User should be able to log into the application in 3 seconds, something like this. So these are called as SLAs, response time SLAs. Okay. Let me elaborate it. Response time SLAs. Clear, guys? Understood, guys? So management or or the stakeholders of the application will tell you, right? So are the product owner actually. So to be precise, there will be someone called product owner. We'll discuss that what is meant by product owner and all later on. So the management will tell you whenever whenever some new application is being developed, right? The stakeholders of the management will define some certain response time SLAs. Generally, this will be done by a team called business analyst team, BA team, where BA stands for business analyst team. How do they come to these numbers? Homepage 2 seconds load avali, or else login, on what basis do they decide this?
Testing.
No, on what basis they define the SLAs?
No, based on the requirement.
Based on the requirement and based on the competitors.
Users based.
No, based on the industry standards. Let's say, for example, Jmart is developing an application. Jmart came into the market very recently, isn't it? Let's say, for example, Jmart was launched last year, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you know Jmart, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Reliance, this is from our Reliance, right? So they are into the same business like Amazon and Flipkart. So let's assume that when Jmart is developing their application, right, they will first look at the competitors. They will first look at the existing players. How much time that Amazon or Flipkart homepage is loading, or how much time it is taking to log into the application, right? They will look into the competitors and businesses which are into the same industry, and based on that they will define these SLAs. Now Jmart will say that my homepage also should be loaded in 2 seconds. My login page should be loaded in 3 seconds, right? These requirements will be given by a team called business analyst team.
Yes, sir.
Clear, guys? And they will define
Clear.
some certain SLAs like this. For example, if you want to view orders, fast orders, so this can take a bit more time, like 5 seconds. It may take like more time than homepage and login, right? Or else, when you have account statement, you might have observed this. When you want to do accounts, view the account statement, generate a report, right? Generally, it will take some time, isn't it? It will take a couple of seconds, more than the normal response time, right? So these are called as response time SLAs. Is it clear, guys?
Clear.
Yes.
Sir.
Now coming back to this, response time should be within the SLAs, right? So that is what we check. That is the first and foremost thing that we check in performance testing. What is the response time of each page, home page? How many seconds home page is taking to load? How many seconds application? When we log into the application, how many seconds it is taking per login, right? So we check those, we check whether the response times are within the SLAs or not. Okay. And stability means I already explained, to check how stable the application is under expected and unexpected user load. How stable is the application under expected and unexpected user load, right? Application performance should not degrade even after using very long time also. The application performance should not degrade even if you are using continuously, using that application continuously for very long time. So then we can say that the application is stable, right? And also, not only under expected user load, whenever there is some unexpected user load also, response times may increase, but application should not crash, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Tapkal, whenever there is Tapkal booking, right, we expect that, we expect, or we are prepared mentally that, the pages will be slow because there will be more number of users. But we don't expect if the application breaks off, if the application is displaying 4 not found and 404 not found error messages, right? Our page can't be displayed, our site can't be reached. We don't expect those kind of performance issues, isn't it?
Yes, sir. We are expecting like a slow time.
Right. Response time may increase, but the application should work, isn't it? Even though there is some unexpected user load, isn't it? right?
Yes,
And
sir.
next, scalability means can the application handle unexpected user load and how does it behave beyond its capacity, right? This shows the application's ability to handle increasing user load without performance degradation. We just now discussed it, right? So let's say if you have normal user load is 1 lakh, right? And team want to check whether the application can support 10,000 more users or 20,000 more users. That is called as scalability testing. How scalable the application is. Okay. So what is the general meaning of scalable? What is the general meaning of scalable? Able to be scaled or climbed, able to be changed in size or scale, right? Clear guys, understood guys, what is scalability?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And reliability, coming to the last one, reliability. Reliability is how reliable is the application and will users have positive experience on go live. Go live means once the application goes into production, will the users have positive experience, right? Or how reliable the application would be. That is called as reliability. So these are the 4 major factors for doing performance testing. Okay, so I'll stop it here, guys. So we'll spend the remaining 5 minutes for any doubt clarification and Q&A, and we'll I'll continue tomorrow.